Welcome back to the Explainer. Today, we're tearing down something really cool, the Cognifyz Full Stack Development Internship Roadmap. Think of this less as a standard internship outline and way more as a highly structured masterclass. It's a complete progression tree designed to level up your coding skills, taking you from the absolute basics of web mechanics all the way up to writing robust, expert-level server functionality. So if you're ready to build out that full stack developer skill tree, you are exactly where you need to be. Okay, let's just get right into it. The ultimate mission here is unlocking the full stack. For your toolkit, you're going to be using the core languages of the web, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, alongside heavy-hitting backend tech like Node.js or Python. Now, here's the deal. To successfully complete this program, Cognifyz requires you to conquer at least 5 out of the 8 technical tasks we're about to cover. You get to choose your path to a degree, but these tasks are specifically designed to push you while still being flexible enough to fit your schedule. We're breaking this roadmap down into 5 quick stages today: beginner foundations, intermediate design, advanced integration, expert features, and finally, a super quick look at submitting your internship. All right, kicking things off with Level 1, Beginner Foundations. Look, every great dev has to start by mastering the absolute basics of how a client talks to a server. So for Task 1, your main objective is server-side rendering and handling basic form submissions. You're basically getting a simple HTML front-end to actively communicate with a backend server. You'll start by building out that HTML form to capture user input. But obviously, that data needs somewhere to go, right? So step 2, you're spinning up a Node.js server using Express, and then you'll build specific endpoints to catch that incoming data. Finally, you're going to use a templating engine like EJS to dynamically generate a brand new HTML page based on whatever the user just typed in. It really is a perfect little sandbox for the full web dev lifecycle, capturing data, sending it, and reacting to it dynamically. Moving on to Task 2. Once you've got that basic pipeline working, the focus entirely shifts to UX and system security. Your objective here is expanding those initial inline styles and bringing in some crucial server-side validation. So you'll extend your forms for much deeper interaction. But here's the crucial part. You'll immediately add client-side JavaScript validation for that snappy, instant user feedback. Like alerting them right away if they forgot the @ symbol in their email. But, as we all know, you can never entirely trust the client. So you back that up with rock-solid server-side validation to catch any bad data before it finally rests in temporary storage. You're basically building a double layer of security before the data ever stops moving. Okay, moving right along to Level 2, Intermediate Design. This is where we scale up the visual complexity and make sure the application actually feels like a professional product. The core objective for Task 3 is all about responsive design. We need this app looking absolutely flawless, whether somebody's viewing it on a massive desktop monitor or swiping through it on a tiny phone screen. To pull this off, you'll be coding up complex multi-section layouts and bringing them to life with advanced CSS properties. Think smooth transitions and animations. And to keep your sanity while making it work across all those devices, you're going to leverage an industry-standard framework like Bootstrap. It just guarantees a consistent UI and massively speeds up that responsive workflow. Now, Task 4 is where we bridge the gap between static design and real interactive user experience. Your objective here is extending that form validation even further and manipulating the DOM, the document object model, on the fly. You're going to really push those JS skills by writing complex validation rules like real-time password strength meters. From there, you'll use JavaScript to dynamically update the DOM based on those user interactions without ever refreshing the page. This sets the stage for client-side routing, which is huge. It's literally what gives modern web apps that instantaneous native app feel we all expect today. Let's plunge into the deep end. Level 3, Advanced Integration. Temporary storage? That's out. Permanent data systems are in for Task 5. The objective here is establishing true server-client communication via a RESTful API. This is the beating heart of modern web development, allowing your front end and back end to truly talk to one another in a standardized way. Building this engine means you'll be coding RESTful endpoints on your server specifically for CRUD operations. That's create, read, update, and delete. Then you'll wire up a custom front-end interface directly to that API, allowing you to fetch and display data in real time. Basically, you're building the data pipeline from scratch and instantly putting it to work right on the screen. Task 6 is where things get incredibly serious regarding data permanence and security. The objective is to integrate a real database and lock it down completely with user authentication. You'll hook up something like MongoDB or MySQL for your permanent data storage. But obviously, with real data comes real responsibility. So you're going to implement strict server-side user authentication to identify exactly who is logging in. This ties directly into your authorization checks on the API endpoints, ensuring users can only see or change the exact data they have explicit permission to touch. All right, we've reached the final technical stage, Level 4, Expert Features. This is where we shift away from basic functionality and focus entirely on robust enterprise-level architecture. In Task 7, you're securing your APIs with advanced concepts like OAuth 2 and expanding your app's capabilities by integrating an external third-party API to pull in outside data. And to make it truly enterprise-grade, you have to implement rate limiting to stop spam in its tracks, plus robust error handling so your application doesn't just crash and burn when something inevitably goes wrong. Your final technical challenge, Task 8, targets absolute peak server performance. You'll introduce custom middleware for processing requests and offload heavy background tasks to job queues using Redis, which is a total game changer for speed. Finally, you'll deploy server-side caching. This means you'll be delivering lightning-fast, optimized response times straight to your end users. Finally, let's briefly touch on submitting your internship. To get across the finish line and submit, you just need to whip up a brief, professional video showing off your completed projects and drop it on LinkedIn to establish some serious credibility among your peers. Just keep the basics in mind, zero plagiarism, obviously. Make sure you tag Cognifyz using their specific hashtags in your post, and keep your project files nicely separated for that final submission form when you're done. Easy enough? All right, we've just blasted through a massive, comprehensive journey, from rendering basic HTML all the way to deploying Redis background queues and advanced server caching. So as you fire up your code editor today to start leveling up, I want to leave you with this question to ponder. Looking at this entire roadmap, which of those 8 technical tasks is going to be your absolute biggest coding challenge? Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer, and happy coding!